So, this is Kev from Kev Hikes Yife. And I was just kind of thinking about how in some ways quitting my six-figure job kind of saved my life. It was a couple of weekends ago. I ended up ended up going skiing with one of my buddies who was visiting for a road trip, kind of on his journey out west, and he was big skier and pretty good, likes to get gnarly, stuff like that, and likes to pregame, watching a lot of ski videos, very passionate guy, so yeah, I was pretty excited to go skiing with him, and just kind of even have the opportunity, and so we went, rented some skis at Christie and Patio, really great affordable rental program, I thought, and then I got a discount for the ticket for Arapahoe Basin, because my buddy had the ski pass, so I was able to get a discount, which that helped. I think saved maybe like $50-$60 or so, but so anyway, we go pack up early. We leave here around like 5, hopefully beat some traffic and get to the mountain just a little bit, I think, before they open. We get there, get our ticket, we ride up, we're all set to go. And honestly went down some runs, and it was really great. Seriously, I'm just always blown away by the views that I get when I'm at the top of the mountains. It's absolutely unbelievable. And then on top of the fact, get to be skiing on top of that. So just always grateful when I make it to the top. It's also just a process, even getting, the gear and all that stuff. So anyway, it's a trek on its own. So was really happy to be doing that. And so we ended up one thing that was actually kind of interesting, I've never really noticed this or seen this before, but except when it's like more rainy or maybe kind of like a softer snow because it's warm out, but the snow is really sticky. There's some spots that I definitely had to like keep pushing, and I thought my skis just weren't like waxed and whatnot. So, but my buddy had same thing. But either way, we were just like, okay, we'll just go down some faster hills, right? Get some more speed. So we ended up, taking this really cool, really skinny path that kind of cut over to like the backside, which honestly was just it was very cool. This is also the first time I was at 8 Basin. I've driven past it. I've had my Epic Pass in the past, but never actually made it. So, I was pretty excited. We did start hitting some runs that I was, like, oh boy, these are starting to get a little difficult, a little tricky right now. And honestly, just mainly because I hadn't been skiing in a while, and I just didn't necessarily have the confidence. They weren't my skis, and so I just kind of didn't feel like I was ready at that point, and so kind of wanted to make it a point to bring it up, and that maybe I'll go to some easier runs for the time being. So so we get up at the top, and we end up like seeing this. Well, on the way up the chairlift, we're looking at this beautiful, beautiful run, just endless. I just imagine endless white snow, and just kind of big, wide, open range, just perfect. Looked very smooth and very, very, just very nice. And I was like, let's go over there. That looks really nice. And so, it did. We did require like a hike. So we ended up like hiking this like very short stretch. Honestly, really not that. As long as it's not like 20 minutes of hiking in ski boots, like it was more like 2 minutes. But yeah, so just went over to this different area, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is gonna be so beautiful. This is gonna be so perfect. Like, and we kind of get to a spot, and I was looking, and I was like, I don't know, I don't know if I see like a normal way to kind of just get down. It looked just kind of very like loose and just kind of ungroomed, we'll say. I'm typically a groomer. Ripping the groomers, my friend Sonia taught me. So so I was like, okay, well, I'll drop down this part. I think this was like the bowl part. Get down, and then what I'll do is I'll go fast, but I'll start heading uphill. So then that way I start slowing down, and I'll just kind of slalom my way the rest of the way. So that was my plan. Chris was up ahead, my buddy Chris was up ahead of with me, and I don't remember I think I maybe had gone first, maybe he did, I don't remember. I just remember I was starting to like analyze, how do I get down, trying to analyze the slope and stuff like that. And so I was a little nervous, and I part of me was thinking like I really could see myself just stepping down, honestly, at this point, and just kind of push the snow. I just didn't feel comfortable with the speed that I may have been going at. So, but I was like, no, I should be able to go, once I get down to the bottom, go uphill, and it should be fine. And it'll slow down, and I can do this first drop. I've done that plenty of times in other spots. And so, so I was like, yeah, let's just go. I'm, cowabunga. Let her rip, hang 10. Christmas vacation. And yeah, so I did, and I was like, okay, yep, that was pretty fun. But I start going down. I'm speeding really quick, and I'm like, yep, this is fun. But once I got to the actual trail, maybe it's still part of the bowl, I'm not sure, but a little bit more open area, a little bit more groomed. I noticed that it was a lot bumpier than it looked from afar. And then, which I did not have like a powder ski on in any way. So anyway, yeah, it's just a normal kind of rec ski. So I feel like fairly thin compared to, I feel like some of the skis they can get that are a little bit more powder friendly. But yeah, so I get down there, and I'm going pretty fast, and it's a little bumpier. So I'm like, okay, like, well, I can weather this out in the beginning. Keep in mind this is all happening very quickly. Like, I'm kind of elongating the story just for detail, but yeah. So then I go. Well, I'm like, oh, well, I should start slowing down because I'm going uphill. Well, I guess I either got the angle wrong in terms of I wasn't actually going to the left, because it was kind of sloping down to the right when I went down the bowl. Which I was going so fast once I got to that point, like I kind of couldn't really turn and fast enough because it was pretty bumpy. And yeah, I must have just lost direction, and I was like, oh no, I'm going faster. I'm not going uphill, I'm going downhill, and it's bumpier than I originally thought. And I'm going faster. That was what started going through my head. I'm like, oh crap. Yeah, well, honestly, at this point, I'm probably going to fall. So, and honestly, like, the moment I thought it happened. And I kid you not, so I had fallen earlier, and I lost both my skis, and I was completely fine. I was very glad I had the helmet on. Honestly, like, truly, thank God. Because that one would have hurt. That one would have been dangerous. It was, debatably dangerous, but that one would have been really dangerous if I had not had the helmet. So, thank you to Chris for reminding me to rent one, and also for his friends for letting me use the goggles. So yeah, anyway, I definitely took like a couple somersaults of some sort, and it yanked me. I felt it. I managed to finally stop, which was sliding, which was good because I just kept kind of getting tossed around otherwise. And I'm just laying there. I could feel everything. My left arm was really twisted underneath me, and then my right knee was really twisted. And both felt like kind of like they were just like stretched too far. Like oh, like I may have pulled something. I gotta kind of like feel this one out. So I was also kind of tired because we had just done the hike, and I had fallen similar to this, but in a lot more powder. So it was just very powdery, and so I was fine for that, but I was tired from trying to put the skis on in the snow. So I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna lay here. I'm not really in a rush to move. I'm just kind of exhausted in general. Which honestly, just like sometimes stuff in life just really, honestly at the moment I was just in general a very exhausted person. A lot of different stressors and a lot of different things that I was worrying about at the time and trying to kind of work through, and so. I was like, you know what, I'll just pause right here for just a little bit. And then, my buddy Chris comes over, and he was kind of panicking, and I felt bad because I kind of just needed to lay there, but like, I knew I was fine, but he was probably freaking out. He later told me that he like saw the whole thing, and honestly, it was interesting hearing his recap. Maybe I'll get his recap again, and we'll kind of compare notes, but, so he came over, kept asking me how I was doing. Eventually, he flagged down a ski patrol guy, which I was thinking, like, there's no way I need a ski patrol. Like, he's just being so over precautious. Oh my gosh, Chris, like, what are you doing? Like, so then the guy comes over and starts asking me questions, and I was trying to be funny to kind of prove that I was, like, being sane. Honestly, I thought one of the jokes, or one of the things he asked me, if I gave you 6 quarters, how much money would you have? And I was like, oh, this is like a trick question. Like, I'm just going to answer. Is this like a basic question test, or is this like a joke test? Because or like not joke, but like anyway, I ended up saying, well, 6 more quarters than what I currently have now. I thought it was pretty clever. Really. I bet you he wasn't expecting that one. We'll just say, I don't know, maybe he was. I'm sure. Anyway, I thought it was pretty good at the time. Whatever. So, I kind of just kept going with it, and he seemed like he felt pretty confident that he was able to leave me. And then he said, okay, well, let's get up and at least help you put on your skis. And I said, okay. And so, actually that's when it was pretty much then, I tried to get up, and I tried to put weight on my right leg, and I couldn't. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I should be fine except for this like little detail, but that, little detail about that I couldn't put any stress or weight on my right leg was exactly enough, that I needed for the next part to happen. So, which I couldn't put on my ski, because I couldn't push down on it, let alone really stand. But then I would have had to ski down, and I really didn't feel there was no way I would be able to put pressure on it. And so I was kind of saying to him, like, so shoot, like, this is, I might need some help getting down the hill, and so, mountain. And, so they ended up bringing a stretcher, which was basically like a toboggan, and then kind of like this like mat, and they helped me in that. I guess, quick rewind before getting in there, I was starting to get kind of nauseous because it was warm up there, a lot of sun, and I was kind of a little just warm inside my gear, but I was also, I think, a little shaken up because like everyone was asking me all these questions, and honestly, like, it was a little scary. Like, it could have been like much worse, and honestly, I was literally and figuratively shaken up, and so I in some ways I was kind of like, and then I started thinking like, what? seriously, like, this is exactly what I get for being as stressed as I am about every other thing. Like, seriously, like, it's almost as if, like, honestly, I just kind of, like, there's a part of me that kind of was like, ready to go in some way. So yeah, I was grateful to be very grateful to be alive. That I kind of wanted to, like, not just stress about it and just kind of like lay there and just like not put a lot of pressure on my knee, because it was like a lot happening all at once, and it was just kind of like embarrassing and kind of like, ugh, like, I'm like, seriously, I let myself do this. Like, I'm I'm not as good of a skier as I thought I was. Like, and anyway, so I was kind of disappointed that I wasn't really in shape, honestly, to be able to really be. I wasn't as in shape as the limits that I knew or how am I trying to say that? I was not properly judging my limits, I guess, based off of the reality of my of the physical conditioning I was in. So, yeah, I think a stronger me, a little less stressed me, would have probably been like, okay, yeah, let's not take some chances here. Let's just make this simple, and just, step down, for example, or like when I fell, maybe be more flexible or be stronger to be able to handle such a portion of the slope. And so, not quite sure I would have been able to handle it in the future, but like, you know, the well, let's just say my flexibility is probably not great, and if it had been better, my knee and my arm or shoulder could have been a lot better, and I may have been able to stand up on my knee and not have this situation. So, anyway, I was kind of freaking out about all that, and I started kind of getting nauseous and asking me all these questions about medication, stuff like that, which, like, I know they gotta ask, but they're probably just trying to keep me moving. But just yeah, I kind of wanted to, like, just chill. But yeah, at the end of the day, like, I was kind of freaking out. I was absolutely so grateful they were there, because honestly, and I was so grateful that Chris was there, because honestly, if I were there alone and nobody were on the hill, I would not have had a way to get down the mountain. Or would have, so yeah, I was very grateful that they were all there. So I sucked up my last bit of will and shame and put it in to get wrapped up like a burrito and brought down the mountain. So they did not have a snowmobile. They physically skied me down the mountain, like as if like they were like, as if I were like Santa and they were kind of like the reindeer. I guess I guess that makes me Santa. Ho ho ho. So anyway, oh my gosh. Anyway, so yes, they skied me down. They did not have a snowmobile. I want to keep saying snowblower, but I was kind of freaking out, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I couldn't, like the thought of skiing started kind of like making my knee hurt, or at least became more conscious of like my knee hurting. And then yeah, just thinking we were going kind of fast, and I was like, oh my gosh, like don't get hurt or don't fall like I did, like so. But yeah, they were very skilled, very efficient. They had to then stop the whole chairlift and then bring me up, and I ended up like sliding my goggles over my eyes, because I was like, I don't want to make eye contact with anybody. It's so embarrassing. But in some ways I was kind of like, well, you know what, like there's just no other option, so I'm just going to let it be what it is. So they hooked me up to the chairlift, and yeah, I talked with the ski patrol on the way up. It was pretty cool. I kind of told them, I was like, it was kind of funny. Like, I used to be a lifeguard and used to do this kind of stuff like in the water for training. Never had to do like anything serious with a backboard for anything serious. Thank goodness. But but yeah, like, you used to practice it for certifications and stuff like that. And so, yeah, just I had never thought I'd be the one on that type of a board. I guess it was for skiing. So, but again, just yeah, super grateful for their help, and that it wasn't as, it was just my knee. So honestly, I felt like I tore something. It felt like it didn't feel like I broke something per se, but yeah, it was pretty painful that I didn't really want to test it a whole lot further. So, yeah, we made it up. They had to take me off, and then they brought me down the front side, and then we went to the medic room, and they, kind of, which again, very impressed that they skied me down the mountain, the front side, but all safe and sound. And then, yeah, they took me in, gave me some recommendations, gave me some ice, suggested I go get, an MRI to get it checked out as soon as possible and stuff like that. And yeah, I obviously felt bad that I was ending the day for Chris, because I know he was so excited to be there. But, also knew that, like, he was also in Colorado, which I think was hopefully part of a cool experience as it was, even if we cut skiing a little short. It did happen around lunchtime, so I guess, like, Chris is probably thinking you could have just said we could have broke for lunch if you wanted. But no, I did feel bad, but yeah, he was very, very supportive and understanding and just happy to be there as well. So at least how I gathered. So when we drove home, and we were both actually kind of hungry for lunch at the time, so I was like, oh, I guess we got a half day in ultimately. So it was probably from like 8:30 to 11 that we skied, maybe 9 to 11. So yeah, enough. There were definitely more runs that we wanted to explore for sure. I mean, you want to experience as much of the mountain as you can, and so, but yeah, it got cut short a little bit. We were trying to figure out like where to go for lunch, and we just decided to stop at McDonald's. After debating, like, okay, you get to choose type thing, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll choose. So we took it for, we got some food. I ended up managing to hobble to the bathroom, so like I could kind of feel that it was a little bit better than what it was at the mountain. So I was like a little relieved that like I was able to kind of walk without crutches, because I was using crutches at the mountain and needed people to kind of carry me. So yeah, I mean, even though I was hopping, I at least could be somewhat mobile, and then even I could still tell it's just getting better in general. So, we drove home and, just talked about things, and, honestly, Chris gave some like really great advice that, honestly, I'm hoping to apply as much as I can, and I'll just, really take with me. So, but yeah, it still felt like a good day, like honestly, I was kind of happy just doing anything with them. So, and then, we got home, and, I think we just kind of like chilled out. I was trying to rest my knee, just kind of chilled, and just like, I think Chris maybe went to bed early. I think I maybe went to bed early. I think maybe we tried to all watch a movie. But yeah, so I guess, ultimately, like, learning from this, like, I think my, me not choosing to prioritize myself caused me so much stress that I almost got really hurt skiing. And I think a part of that was because of how stressed I was. And honestly, so, I don't think it was the reason per se, but it was definitely like a motivating factor to be like, okay, I'm going to put in my notice for one of the gigs I was working on, and I'm just, I got to kind of take a break for a little bit, getting pretty burnt out. I just kind of like need to not work for a little bit and just, I don't want it to get worse than this small knee pain. So, if that's, what influenced it maybe. So, not saying it did per se, but we're cause, but factor, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure. So, anyway, I guess it couldn't, but, that was how I determined. That's how I kind of got to the point that I quit my 6-figure job so that I could, don't laugh at me.
I thought you were talking to somebody.
I'm talking to my audience. The audience of me right now. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, so anyway, there's my story. If you like this, subscribe to whatever medium this is posted on. Smash the like button if there is one. And if it helped you in any way, feel free to comment or share with your friends. And yeah, I hope you all prioritize self-love, self-care always. And don't necessarily have to hurt your knee before you realize to do so. So, all right. Thanks for listening or watching. And we'll see you next time.